thank you, Meaghan, for doing that ceremony with us, and was beautiful, and the song as well.
I love that song so much. Lots of good memories attached to that song.
It always reminds me that we can be the light, but it's literally the light for others to find it in themselves. And that's why it resonates so much with me, is just the reminder. So thank you for sharing it with us as well.
Of course.
Would you like to pull a card, Meaghan?
Did you pull from Sacred Earth?
Yes. Hi, Anne and Mina. Mina, you look like you're camping, and I want to be there with you.
This is my house. It's my camping house. Yeah.
Oh my God, it looks so cozy. I love it.
Full perception. Wow, Mina, your house is magical.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. All right. Perception. Listen, observe, and better your chances. Rely on your direct experience. Do not be swayed by reputation, gossip, or a third-party account. Trust your perception and interpretation of a situation. Be wary of gaslighting or of someone who undermines your sense of self and the world around you. Develop and hone your sensitivities. Your senses are clouded by thoughts and emotions. Try to distance yourself from what others say. Detach emotionally. Quiet your judgments and clear your thoughts. Find a quiet place, preferably in nature, where you can relax and refresh your perception. Let your instinct guide you to the clear, unmistakable voice that comes not from your thoughts, but from your soul. Touch, taste, smell, sight, and hearing are only 5 ways of interpreting the world around us. Many animals can sense Earth's magnetic field. Some can see heat, and others use echolocation. Being able to sense light, predators, food, heat, water pressure, or an approaching storm increases a being's chance of survival. As senses evolve according to need, an earthworm and a robin perceive the world very differently. The world remains the same, but there are countless ways of perceiving and experiencing it. We develop and hone our senses as we interact. We learn to allow for the refraction of light when looking through water. If we pay attention, we can sense the sudden drop in temperature and air pressure that can signal rain. Sound was always a reality, but the world was silent until life developed the complex ability to hear it. What else might we sense about the world if we could hone our ability to perceive it?
What kept coming up for me is that that thing that I sent you guys earlier in the WhatsApp, is that there's a lot going on right now, and we just have to not tune into it and amplify it. So it is all about the perception. So I pulled the Intikhana, which is the child of light. And I'm just going to read some of it. This is the child of light. There is a divine light that does not cast a shadow, nor does it cast judgment. And even though it reveals truth, a truth that is sometimes hard to acknowledge and requires that we change our ways, true divine light is healing and it's unifying. It's bringing hope and it illumines the way. Other sorts of light exist on this planet that are not so pure nor so helpful. Those sorts of light may appear stunningly bright, yet in effect create separation and increase ego. You can recognize genuine divine presence not by how dazzling it may appear at first, but by what your devotion to that divine light evokes in your heart and your world. Which, yeah. For me, this has been coming up a lot. I think I think it's probably the work that I will be doing with Aya this week. And when I was on the road trip last week, we ended up listening to a podcast called Heaven's Gate. And I just kept getting this feeling that there is the potential that we're going to keep repeating the past. And by that, I mean, in the 70s, people had these plant medicines and they had heart and they were full of love. But the problem was that they started following other people's light and forgot their own. And I have goosebumps saying this, so I think it's supposed to be said. So I think that we really have to realize the light is inside. And I think these types of groups are here to illuminate our own light. No one is a leader here and no one is a follower here. And I think that's the only way that we are going to ascend. We have to see the light inside and we have to shine it as brightly as possible. And if something that anyone you follow says doesn't resonate true within your heart and grow your heart, there's a reason and you have to disconnect from it. So that's I think the lessons that keep coming up and being presented to me. And I know that it's, I don't want to say a fear that I have, but it's definitely something that I am contemplating right now because we're going through similar cycles that happened already. So what do you guys want to talk about today? I feel like we haven't seen each other forever. Everybody come on mute. Let's talk.
Before we go, my computer is not cooperating, so I cannot take notes on this right now. So if something is really important, maybe someone can step in as secretary if we need.
I'll have a little notepad in case if anything comes up either. So first let's talk about and make sure everybody has their animals. What do you guys, are you all secure with who your animals are in each direction?
My last one came to me yesterday. I was struggling to find it, and then was listening to your episode about the active earth altar. So I'm in Toronto, so I don't have tons of green space, but went to a park, made a little altar with some leaves and some crystals, and then my last animal came to me in like 2 minutes. So I laughed, and they'd actually appeared in other meditations for me, but they were very, like, it was a deer, and they were very like hesitant and very far off. So I think they were just like observing first before I got my first 3 animals. And then, yeah, they came like to me directly and like right in my face, and it was a beautiful experience. So yeah, I was so happy it came to me yesterday, knowing that we had this today.
And I love that it came by being in devotion with the earth. Like that's what I find whenever I'm struggling, as long as I get to earth and I commune, it's so easy.
Yeah, I've been like hunting down like every free moment I have. I just want to like run to the grass because I just have like a parking lot behind me. So even if I'm outside, I'm still like on pavement, and it's not the same.
Oh, I love that. How about Meaghan? You have your 4?
I am very confident with bear, wolf, dragon, and then the 4th, it's like butterfly, dragon, or dragonfly, moth, and there's a dragonfly right outside the window. And there's another one. And another one. Okay.
There you go.
There are like 4 of them outside.
We're like, really? Do we need to bring more?
All right. Yeah. Okay.
So you have them.
There they are. Yep, there they are.
That's great. And I know Anne has hers, and Mina, you have yours?
I had my 4. I'm kind of wavering on my animal of the East because I feel like I kind of forced it and it hasn't really shown up for me. I picked it because I had seen it here around our property, and it took me aback because I'd never seen it before. It's a great heron. And actually I was scared because I'm like, what is that thing? And it came up in a dream. But I kind of have to sit with that a little bit more. I'm not sure if he's mine, but for sure, owl of the north, elephant of the south, and dragonfly for the west. And I was a bit resistant for the dragonfly, but similar with Meaghan, it kept showing up in real life, or like it showed up on my husband's surfboard that he just got. So it was like confirmation of, yeah, I'm yours. So I got to keep working with it to get
I
confident
want
with
to say,
these.
this week Aisha was texting with me, and hers is an eagle, one of them, and the question was, I feel like I'm either flying on its back she didn't understand, am I the eagle, or am I flying on its back? Because I feel when it gets to the nest, I feel like I'm home. And the thing I want to just share with you guys is that these animals are actually you, like youth incarnated as these animals. So when they come, they may be shy at first because they may be feeling like, are you ready? You know, are you ready to embody me? But they aren't separate from you. They are you. And it's just welcoming them back to being you in this incarnation. So just really understand that even if they come in like a little elusive, it's just because they want to make sure you're paying attention to them as well in their energy. And then the other thing is, like in our class, some people were able to like pull them up on demand and have like conversations with them. And I wasn't that way. Then they only would show up for me when I needed them. And it wasn't like consistently every day I connected, I feel each one. No, I would be working with something and I would feel the presence of one more than the other. So how you're saying, you're not sure because it's not coming easy, it could mean you're not ready for their energy, but that doesn't mean they're not ready to be part of your circle.
Makes sense. Yeah.
I was confused also. I had sent a message to like our fire group, because my very first meditation was when like a shark came to me, but it became the shark. Like I was swimming in the ocean and like could feel a tingling of my body, and then all of a sudden I felt this like silver light coming out of me, and then I turned into the shark. So I like messaged everyone being like, am I supposed to turn into the animal? Like I was so confused, but that makes a lot of sense now, knowing that like you're the same in one.
And like for me, if you guys have listened to the ayahuasca ceremony, that's where I realized that we actually are the animals. But it took me to being in that state to embody it. So it depends on how free you are in your consciousness state, right? If you really start to embody that animal, or it may only come, like, let's say if you are in an altered state. But the truth is that they really are you. I mean, we are everything, of course, but these particular ones are here to support you in this incarnation.
But you can shift into the animal, and that is a whole nother higher power. So keep shape shifting. Go for it.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think that the more we are able to let go of our identity as this flesh and bones, that I personally feel that their animal spirits are magical. I mean, you guys have also heard that I feel like they're more alien than us. I feel like they're more connected to that than we are, because we have such strong egos. And it's really learning to adapt to turning that off, or to work with it and to allow that, I guess, I don't know, alien part of yourself come through more strongly, which is untethered, it's free. And that's how animals want us to be. They want us to find that in ourselves. So I don't know, did you guys see the animal spirits video? I was like totally dancing. That song was just connecting with me that day. It was like, I gotta let it rip and just let it go. And that's how I felt when I wasn't caring about the ego, especially in medicine. It's like, you just let them take over your whole being. So yeah, I think that's really powerful too, that just in the start of this, you're already realizing that you actually are the animal. I don't remember in our teachings, Anne, that Lori said that part. And it was only through experience that I realized like, oh, this is why it's important. So, and April, I think you have all of yours, right?
Do. Yep.
And Susan, you do?
Yeah, I think I have them. And I for sure know the bears in the west, the white bear. And then in the east is a swan. And then in the north is a hummingbird. And my south keeps on flipping. Like at first it was a snake, but I think that the dolphin keeps coming up. So I think I'm going to switch the snake to the dolphin. But I feel like I have more than one in each direction.
That's okay too. I
So, yeah.
personally think, yeah, that's okay.
Yeah. So I
Like,
do
welcome.
feel-
If more are being there to assist you
Yeah.
and ally, like, take them. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm getting a lot of grasshoppers. Every day it's a different color grasshopper in the same tree. So it's weird.
Yeah, I definitely think like we were taught to just get 4, but as I think we both have been on this path, I have more than 4 now. So if they're coming in, accept them in for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I noticed for me too that like, so Susan, the day that, so in our smaller group, when because everyone had kind of had like snake come in, and then I had pulled a card and there was a serpent at the very bottom. But then I think it was later that day or the next day, within 5 minutes, I had 3 confirmations that, so I was like in the big garage and I looked down and I saw a little purple dinosaur on the ground. Then literally 10 feet to my left was a picture of a green like dragon that one of the kids had drawn. And then literally like right behind that was Israel has a cane that has a dragon head as the handle. And so I was like, and so that's what got me thinking. I was like, okay, like serpent, yes, but representing like in that kind of species or so. I was like, okay, like serpent-ish, like that direction, that thing, but it seemed like the dragon was coming through way like, so I kind of took that to be like, okay, like I'm feeling like serpent reptile, but what is it really? And then it was like, well, then I just got 3 confirmations, like all literally within a 20-foot radius, that I was like, okay, I'm gonna settle on dragon. So
No, that's cool. I think because our group, we all got snake at first, and I think maybe
Right.
that just bonded our group. Like we were like,
Yeah.
okay, we're in the right group. Like I felt that because there was this excitement that we all had. We were like, we all got the snake.
Right.
So our group too, we had a dolphin show up and we were all trying to figure out whose dolphin it was because we knew it wasn't ours. And like Tiffany would see it heading west and I would see it heading east. So I think it's like that same dynamic of what's supporting the collective that's trying to, work together.
Oh, and I just thought of something. We're Earth, and the snake is the Earth, so
Yeah.
it just kind of compounded that our group is the Earth. And I don't know
Right.
what group you are, Mina, but maybe water.
Or fire, but
Okay, well, there you
Actually,
go.
our
that would
color
be a
is
good-
silver.
That would be a good exercise. Let's see what animal is supporting each whole group with the pendulum.
It's weird. I've been having like some crazy synchronicities happening today. Even Tiffany messaged our group this morning saying that she had been visited by all of us, but that there was a butterfly that had been connected to me. And then I was like, that's funny because I didn't see a butterfly as one of my animals, but I have on my arm, I have a butterfly tattoo. And then I was like, that's interesting. And so I'm literally thinking of this as we're having the conversation. And then you pull the card and there's the butterfly on it today. So I was like, okay, this is like, yeah, I think a butterfly is here to help me either way. Not sure where from, but it's just cool.
It could be just you, and it may not be from a direction, but it's just a representation of who you already are embodying in this life through your personality. That's amazing.
Right.
But all
That
of
makes
that,
sense.
all of that would represent like a transformation too,
Oh, yeah.
between the snake and the butterfly, and all, you know, all of it is transformation, and you know, and fire's transformation. It's all, everything's changing. So there's all the
Yep.
big correlation right there too.
Right. That totally makes sense. I'm going back to my family home for the first time in 2.5 years. And it's like very, not to say traumatic, but it's my family home and everybody all lives there. And I know that I'm going through this awakening now, like knowing that I have that coming. And so a lot of things have been changing in my life, and transformation is definitely the theme. So that all makes sense.
Yeah. That's amazing. So I know last time when we met, we talked about the sacred sites and how you guys were going to work on now opening up to lands. And then for me, it was really interesting that then we left on our trip, which I didn't realize was going to be all about the sacred lands, and it ended up being everything. And so I want to ask like your guys' experience with that part. I'm going to go April, you're first.
I just hesitate to talk because I could just go on, and I realize that this is a group space and I want to honor that. So I don't want to talk too much. I will say that I have all of my apus, and each one of them, like at least one or two, felt like especially impactful and meaningful, and the messages that came through were really important to me, and I'll be taking those forward.
So you have all 4.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's perfect. Meaghan,
And you,
you're on.
okay. I don't have all of them yet, I think. Yeah, I'm still working on that. I know I have one of them for sure. But yeah, needs more time.
Okay, which is yours in Peru?
Yeah.
All right, you
Machu
gotta have
Picchu.
one in, yeah, thank you.
Machu
Okay.
Picchu. Yeah, no, that so you're right, Anne. I do have 2, because Machu Picchu was for sure one. And then Rocky Mountain National Park in Colorado is one. So yeah.
You know what I was also thinking is that I think these, just like the animals, will come in and out and add to, because for sure the 4 that I have that anchored the circle, I feel like more are coming in. So try not to be so like this is it and I have to, you know, pick these ones and then I don't have a choice to add in more. You know, just open up to what the energy that calls you now, and then, you know, see where it takes you in your path.
Yeah, I wanted to jump in and say that about the animals, that if you do have multiple animals, they're here to teach you lessons. And so just let them, if you got doubles, triples of animals, go for it. It's just more lessons you're going to be learning. You know, it's just like guides. Guides are going to come in and they're going to do what they need to do, and then they're going to go away. So it's all the same. So just let them come in and work with you as they want to come in and work with you.
And also, Meaghan, because your brows clenching, it's not a thinking thing. It's an opening.
Oh, I know. That's like, I mean, in the message the past couple of days, I've been just, I can't remember what I listened to, but it was, again, like feeling your way through things. And really for me, like almost giving my brain a break for the day and not asking, what do I think about anything, but what do I feel about anything and everything. And that's really what I've been trying, like, okay, you don't like, for one day, you know, you can give your brain a break and just say like, what do I feel about this? And just to really, like, if you didn't have your brain and all you were doing was sensing your way through your daily existence, what feels right, you know. So I'm trying that.
I mean, that's
Okay,
okay for
let me-
everyone.
I do have something to add. Okay, so my for the south, what had come up were the pyramids, and I saw 3 pyramids, and there was one in the forefront, and there was like the little halo at the top, kind of like on our money, but there was no eye. There was no all-seeing eye, just like the golden halo at the top. And what I saw is that the top kind of hinged back, and I felt like the energy was bi-directional, how it was both coming from the earth up to the ethers, and then it was also coming from the ethers down to the earth. And and I had heard this before, so it was just really cool that, I mean, spirit brought it to my mind. But like whenever we are meditating, like in lotus position, we're somewhat creating a pyramid shape with our body. And spirit like just suggested if we wanted to, we could like just kind of like relax our neck back, kind of like the top was hinging. And so yesterday, as I was explaining that, and I did that, I got emotional all of a sudden, because I just got the download that for me, it felt super powerful in that moment, because it was like taking my brain, my thinking mind offline. And I was able to like really have that connection to, with my soul. It was just like symbolic of taking that thinking mind off.
That sounds nice. I'm gonna try that.
Well, if you guys haven't, like when you do sit in meditation, or even with rapé, like by tilting your head back, like it will intensify the experience.
See,
for
I
sure.
didn't know that. That was so cool.
Yeah.
To experience it firsthand. I'm like, I was just like doing it as I was explaining it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it just felt like this overpowering sensation. And so a lot of mine have come through like with clairvoyance, but some have been claircognizance, and the one for the direction, the Apu for the east, just came through like no visuals whatsoever. It was, I don't know, I kind of see it as like a typewriter. It was like, it's Norwegian heights. And I'm like, okay. So I went and Googled Norwegian heights, and you know how they always have the image results up first. And so there were like 3 images of the exact same place. I was like, oh my gosh, this is fantastic. Where is this place? I happen to know someone who lives in Sweden, and I emailed her the picture, asked her if she happened to know where this was. And she's like, oh yeah. She sent me a map with the pin in it and said it was like Trolltunga, and its English translation is Troll's Tongue. So like all of that probably wouldn't have come through, wouldn't able to like been communicated to me, because it's like in a different weird language, a different language that I'm not used to and stuff. So it communicated with me in the simplest way it knew how. It gave me a search, inquiry. So I thought that was really neat, how like spirit can use all kinds of ways to get information to us.
That is so true. It's like just like literally opening up everything and letting, is it going to be a person that comes and brings you that message? Is it going to be an animal that shows you something? Or is that a dragonfly on the window? Like they come all the way, all different ways. And how about you? I think you already have all of yours, but.
Yeah, I got mine. It took me a long time. When I got mine, it took me forever to get them. I had a hard time. One of mine was the Garden of the Gods in Pikes Peak area in Colorado, because that's where we got married. One of them is Machu Picchu, because it's always been an area that's been fascinating to me. I chose one from where my Irish descent's from, the one I can't pronounce very well, that I laugh because it's near Tipperary, Ireland, and I can't say it, Mount Sloven. So that's the name of it. Translated however you please. And the fourth one is the one I kept going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And because I kept thinking it was supposed to be a mountain. It was supposed to be a mountain. It's supposed to be a mountain. And it's just like, I don't live near mountains. And I kept trying to come up with something where I grew up. And it's just like, that didn't really have any mountains. And then I was trying to pick Mount Shasta. And it's just like, I don't really have any connection to Mount Shasta. Other than a stone that Gabrielle had given me. And it was just like a place that I go to all the time and I meditate and I love is as scared to death as I am of it, I go to Lake Erie all the time. So I ended up choosing Lake Erie. And I'm so happy that I did, because that's a place that I go to. I go to the waters. And I laugh because then after, it's funny because our energy group is the water group and everything about me is the water and everything. So it's kind of funny that that's one of my sacred spaces. And I remember when we were doing this with Puma, it's like, and this is what I kept telling my group. It's like, it doesn't have to be a mountainous area. When you talk to Puma, yeah, it's mountains for him because he lives in the mountains. So he's used to it. Down in Texas, you don't live near the mountains probably, so it's going to be hard for you to come up with mountains. So it's like, okay, depending upon where we all live, it's going to be hard to imagine what it is. So it's like, I like that we changed it to, especially Gabrielle changed it to sacred sites. So what's important to you and what's in your heart and what's a special place for you, and I think that, to me, that would make it a heck of a lot easier to come and go, that's where I love to go. And that's where I get some inspiration. And that's my meditation spot, because when you go, you got to go find a mountain. This is like, it just didn't work for me. And if I would have been able to say sacred spots, then it's kind of like, boom, that would have worked pretty fast. But yeah, I'm content with mine now. I just wish I could say the name of my
Yeah,
woman.
I have one I can't say the name either. So
and it's like, well, do I need to change that someday? I probably will when I decide to change it and pick my sacred spaces. I'll probably find this. It'll probably be a place. Land Between the Lakes in Kentucky. I'm sorry, Kentucky Lake and Land Between the Lakes. Meaghan, the area.
Mhm.
It's
Oh yeah.
absolutely divine. It's beautiful. I used to go there all the time. That's a sacred space to me. And I kept trying to make that my space, but it was just like, it just didn't fit. And it's just like, well, now that may turn into one of mine. So, okay, enough rattling. Sorry.
Jess, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I haven't dove into this yet. I've just been catching up over the last 2 weeks and getting my animals and listening to the podcast and everything. But I wanted to say, Anne, to you that the second when you were like, oh yeah, I was trying to make it the mountains, I literally just got it screaming in my head of just but it's at the water, but it's at the water. And then you said the water right away. And I was like, okay, you already know, but I don't know why. I was like, no, not the mountains. No, of course not. It's the water. So you obviously have, there's some confirmation for you. I'm still exploring that. And I love just sitting back and listening to your guys' experience. It's kind of nice. You're a little ahead of me. So I get to hear everyone before I kind of step out on my own journey. And maybe that's what I need. So I'm good on that.
And I think the main thing too, no pressure. It's not totally. You have to, well, you're going to be tested on this. No, yeah. It's just feel, and again, get out of your head, feel into it.
Yeah, we're going to kick. If you don't have it in the next 3 days, we're kicking you out. That's all there is to it. Yeah, that's it.
I really I struggle with perfectionism, and I'm a crazy overachiever. And so I'm letting go of that by doing this and just being just having it all be free and flowing and not making it, not having to meditate certain days or making sure I'm done things by a certain time. And so, yeah, that's been it's a good practice for me.
No, even as I'm sitting here, you guys have helped solidify okay. So I was like, because I knew Rocky Mountain National Park, but that was very generic, and I'd always kind of thought like, all right, well, it's going to be bear, like bear is for Rocky Mountain. And then as you guys are talking, I just remember like there's a lake called Bear Lake in RMNP, and it's beautiful. Like it is just awesome. And I've seen it from like many vantage points. So it's like, yeah, cool. Like it's Bear Lake and bear is for Rocky Mountain. Like, and it's just, like spirit getting more and more specific so that you can actually take yourself to that place, imagine yourself being there and what it felt like to be there, or even be there in your mind, or wherever. So yeah, that was a cool specific that just came through.
And I think I said in the podcast that I put out today, what happens is when it's the right energy, you feel it. Like it feels like either goosebumps, or I feel it going up my spine. It's like a like to like connection. So that's like the feeling that you're looking for when you connect with a space. And I feel like they're stronger than the animals. I don't know, like there's something that just goes right up my spine, and I just am like, okay. And I wait for it to then when I say aho, because I know it's here. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Susan, I'm gonna go back on mute because the dogs are gonna bark.
I think I've got mine. I've always had like this kind of like thought about sacred space. So it's kind of nice to put it into like this package that you're doing. So I know for sure that the Himalayas are my sacred space. I know for sure Bali. I instantly felt like that was like someplace that I had been. I do the rituals that they do a lot. Like it just felt like something was very close to me there. And then the Egyptian pyramids, so definitely Egypt. And then my fourth one would be, I'm kind of vacillating between like Peru. I've always felt like I'm gonna be there. Or like a body of water, like an island. Like, yeah, so my fourth one is a little bit like, I'm not sure. But like the animals, I do feel like a lot of things, I'm gonna have a few sacred places in different directions. And but those ones have always been with me. I'm always feeling like attracted to Egyptian books, Egyptian art. I'm attracted to Indonesian anything. I'm attracted to Indian. I basically feel like I've been Indian before, many lives before this. So those are pretty solid. And then the fourth one, I think Peru, but I feel like maybe right now it's Peru. And once I go there, maybe I'll know for sure.
Susan, you should look up maybe some pictures of the river,
Okay.
like of the Amazon River, because yeah, like being in Peru, but like out on the water, like in the river, is like our very first boat ride into the jungle, where it's like you've got the power and all the energy of the jungle on each side of you. But like, and I went and I sat on the very tip of the boat, like up front, and just like put my arms out and sat up there, like, and that's a powerful energy too. So maybe look at some pictures of like the Amazon River.
Yeah, no. As soon as you said that, I got chills down my arms, my legs. So the Amazon. I think I even wrote it down. I don't know why I can't remember
have it too.
But yes, yeah, definite confirmation there. So it's the Amazon, the jungle, like where they get plants for plant medicine. I just feel very much like connected to that kind of space. So yeah, confirmation. Thank you, Meaghan.
And I wanted to say, Susan, this whole call so far, you've had the violet flame around you. I'm sure you can't see it. Well, yeah, it keeps going in and out, but yeah, you have violet light around you.
Oh gosh, I've heard that so many times. That's so crazy. Thank you. Wow, that's beautiful. I love that. I have a lot of beetles going around me. I don't know if you keep seeing them. They're really large and green, and they're protection, from Egypt, as I talk about Egypt. So they're supposed to be protection insects. In Egyptian time, they bury them with the with, the bodies. So I guess I'm having a lot of protection. Thank you.
Well, that's connection with our group too, Susan, because beetles have come up for me and Kayla a lot.
Yes,
Like,
and I
so
know I
that-
kind of.
And that's why I'm like, I didn't know if beetle was one of my animals, but whatever it is, it's just connecting. It's for sure connecting in our group, obviously. So
Yeah, again, I didn't put it as my animal because I felt like it was sort of like a collective thing, maybe because you
Yeah.
guys already said it. So I didn't put it in there, but maybe it is one of ours in one of the directions. But I love that. But you could see them. They're actually circling me, and there is a lot of them. Yeah. So cool. Wait, so you see the flame around me?
It's coming in.
That way?
Yeah, right behind. Yeah,
Right there?
That's where it
Right
starts.
there.
But then as you move, like it will come in from the other direction too.
Wow, I didn't know you could see
Do you
that.
guys see it, or is it just me? Like right now, it's full on purple right here.
I see like a little purple here.
Yeah.
Okay, that's so interesting. So
I'm
after
gonna
I
send you a picture.
yes, please.
Yeah.
Well, after I got the car accident, I started seeing things in the sky that weren't there. And I was like, what's going on? And it made me think of Mina's text about she's like looking in the sky and she's blinking and thinking, is it really there? Yeah. So that's good. Thank you for the violet flame. That's awesome.
this is random, but kind of connected. As far as like starting to see things that I didn't before. So, I think the first time that I saw this was on my first Aya ceremony, but then I can see it now. I during when I've microdosed either mushrooms or LSD, and now even completely sober, I can't see it as starkly. But and it makes me so interested. Like I want to look at all of you like up close. I don't know that I'm sure I couldn't see it through a screen, but our skin is patterned like crazy, like you would not believe. And I think it's everyone. And this is so interesting and it's exciting because I don't know what it means yet, but like I can look at my skin even right now, completely sober, and I can see all these different designs. It's like you think that your skin is just kind of like the pigmentation is off. It's not. It's all kinds of designs. And like what I want to do is take like a pen and kind of, but it's almost like we have white tattoos. It's like the color of your skin, but then I see it as white. And like the lighter color is all of the designs. And I've seen this on everyone that I've looked at. Like when I can look at Eric and I can see them. I can look at myself. I can look at Jack. Like everyone has these. I was in Nashville at a random store and I had microdosed that morning, but I'm talking to this, the owner of the store, and she has this beautiful, like Celtic heart looking pattern on her chest. And, so yeah, this is something that now, again, it's almost just that training our eyes. So like once in the medicine space, I saw it. Now I'm like, well, I know I wasn't seeing something that isn't there. I was seeing what is there because I wasn't so far gone that, I wasn't hallucinating or anything. And now, like I said, totally sober, it doesn't jump out at me as much. But I can very much see it on our skin. So I can't wait to look at you guys soon, because I'm like, I don't know. What does it mean? Does it like kind of signify like where we were from, or is it just an artistic flair that like our higher selves have dressed these bodies in like, because that's my whole thing. When I did my first mushroom ceremony and I looked at the sky, and anytime like I blinked and opened my eyes, the sky was a different pattern. Like one it was like Celtic braids, and then I closed my eyes, opened it again, and it looked like the bottom of the ocean floor. And I was laughing because Eric was with me, and I said, well, this is why people would go and stare at the sky all day. Like, if you could see it like this, it's freaking beautiful. And so I'm like, doesn't it just make sense that our skin is not just skin? It's a canvas. So like, why wouldn't we be these crazy artists that like tattooed these beautiful designs all over us? And like, I don't know if I did that, if someone else did that, but regardless, that's just like something that I'm excited, because what I believe is that through the ascension and through whatever else is happening, through our clairs, through everything else, our perception opening up, that we will start to be able to see things as they actually are. I think that what we see is not as it actually is. Like, we're getting a very dumbed down, muted version. And that, like, I believe that we'll be able to hear flowers, we'll be able to hear trees and nature. We'll be able to see the colors that we can't perceive right now. And that's been confirmed hundreds of times by people who have near-death experiences. For example, I'm super into listening to those podcasts because they all talk about like the colors I saw, the sounds I heard are something that our physical bodies couldn't even receive right now. Like, but anyway, so that's just an encouraging thing, that like, and an encouragement to you guys is like, start like seeing, what can I see today, here today? I mean, I know in our groups, we've had tons of you talking about hearing, chanting, hearing songs, hearing things that you're like, okay, we're perceiving more. And we're not perceiving what isn't there. We're actually starting to open up to perceive what is there. So it's very exciting to me.
I want Meaghan to go next, but I just want to say, is maybe that's what the medicines are there for. It's like for you to realize you have that power inside of you. You just need to turn it back on. And it's like a remembering of, oh yeah, this does exist.
Mm-hmm.
Oh guys, every time I've wanted to share this before, but I keep forgetting. But then every time like ayahuasca is mentioned, I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to jump in and say something. But so you'll be super happy for me after years of searching for a plant medicine community here in Houston, because like honestly, Austin is known for like the Mecca place to go and do all these combo ceremonies or whatever. But that is like 3 hours away from me. So but three nights ago, I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna try one more time. I put in several different searches in Facebook, and it finally took looking through lists of posts for Houston ayahuasca, and I came across this lady, and apparently she's like, oh yeah, we have a really nice group here in Houston, and they have ceremonies, I think ayahuasca and mushroom like twice a month. So she invited me to something this weekend, and I was like, I can't this weekend, but I'm super excited to join that community and see what that was all about. So I know I had just put that out there, like my very first session with you guys when I joined the Energy Tribe. So just wanted to kind of put that piece of the puzzle out there, that maybe I have found a local community that's very active.
Yeah, you have to let us know how it goes.
I will.
Okay, Meaghan.
I was having a hard time with finding my directions because I couldn't really wrap my head around like how to call them in. But I think, the last few days I've been thinking about it and tried to, to meditate on it. And I was telling my fire group that afterwards, I just felt this building of anxiety. Like I just felt like I needed to get out of my skin. It was like in my head, it was in my body. I was getting body aches. And like last night, I had to like sleep on my biomat at 130 degrees because I was just so cold. Like I just didn't feel right. And then this morning, as I was taking a shower, my elephant came to my mind. And that's when Mount Tamalpais came in. And I was crying in the shower. I didn't really know why. I'm still getting kind of emotional. And I even started kind of like dry heaving in the shower. And that's when I realized like I have purposely avoided Mount Tamalpais like for a long time because it holds a lot of sad memories for me. One of my friends in college he made it a ritual to go there to watch the sunset. And one day he got into an accident and he passed away. And ever since then, that was also at a time of my life where other things were happening. And so I felt this surge of emotion, like almost like I left a part of myself there and have been like denying the power of that place, maybe because I felt like it was its fault, for luring my friend JJ to go there because it was so beautiful. And then, or I thought to myself, it was always at a time when I was in college where I would follow my intuition. Like it was really strong. Like even with my friend JJ who passed away, like I would know what we were going to talk about that day or the interactions that we were going to have. And he was very special human being. And so in a way, I felt like that also increased my self-doubt, like almost like I should have known, but I don't. And I thought, life was going to end up a certain way, and it went the complete opposite direction. And in a way, like this morning too, I kind of felt him. So it was a very powerful moment. And I think it's something that I need to work through. And it makes sense that it came with my elephant because she's from the South. And the South is about shedding things that no longer are part of your story. And transformation and so it was very emotional. And so now that has happened, I feel like that's the way I need to approach these other power places to come. I have an idea, but it feels almost like I'm forcing it. So I need to let it flow. And I think a part of it too is, I think last night, the reason why I was feeling the way I was, because I was pushing the emotions wanted to come, the things that have been sitting in me for over 20 years, there's still stuff that needs to come out. And so that's where I'm at.
Right when you said that, I started crying because I could feel that energy behind that place. And I think obviously there's healing that is there for you. But I think too, like these sites are there for us to do the healing, right? Like why else would they be coming?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you're ready. I want to say I actually downloaded, or I got the sample because I don't have Kindle, but they have that book that you recommended to the group, the How to Read Celestial Akashic Starseed Origins. They have it on iBooks and you can just get a sample. So I was reading it this morning and I want to share it with the group because she opens the book with her Night of the Dark Soul. And I think a lot of people are going through this, will it ever end? And I mean, this woman, it went pretty dark. And it's only through the darkness that then you can invite the light, because that, I think she talks about there were 7 demons holding her down, holding her light from being breaking through. And I was like, kind of like reading her story and kind of comparing or thinking about mine. And when you are in that depression or that dark state, that's what it feels like. It feels like there isn't an end. And I think it was just nice to hear like someone else is confirming their story through their experiences. And she talks about how she was always sensitive, but like I think it was from age 14 to 26, she denied that part of herself. And that's when she fell into drugs and alcohol and, abusing these things to escape her reality. And I just think like I think we've all done that in different ways, you know, and there is no judgment. It's just allowing yourself to feel what that did to you so that you can come back to who you really are and not judge that you went through whatever it was, because it's what that thing is what brings you to the light. So thank you, Meaghan, for sharing it. I haven't gotten to the astrology part or at all. I just read her story, which I really like. Yeah.
I wanted to say too, really quick, Meaghan, I know exactly what you're talking about with the designs on bodies, because I saw that on my thigh. I'm like, what is that? And I know I'm speaking for Sherry because I know she's not here, but she had mentioned that she had seen one before, the matrix on her knee or something like that. So it's interesting that, you know, these little subtle flashes come through, and it really is like when you do see a vision like right before you with your waking eyes, you realize it's something that's always been there. It's always been there. And yeah, I was microdosing. And I think, and I was telling Gabrielle, I don't feel like a prisoner of my mind anymore. So it was definitely a medicine that I needed to integrate. But it's been, you know, over 2 weeks of not. And I still see when I'm in a relaxed state right before me, like as clear as day, the things that I told you guys about. So it's real. Yeah, so it's pretty
I feel
cool.
like all of this spirituality is you realize it's just reminding you. And then once you're reminded of, oh yeah, this is what's real, then you remember, I've always known this. So even if like you don't go backwards to the 3D dimension because you remembered this exists like this.
Mhm.
But I mean, that's how I feel with every step along the journey, is like, it never feels like someone has to convince me of anything. It's just a trigger that you're like, oh yeah, I know now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting because for me, I wouldn't use the word remember for me. For me, it's well, this makes sense. Like the clouds thing where it's like, well, yeah, of course our bodies are way more beautiful than we can look at, you know, of course, like colors are more vibrant than, you know, so for me, it's been less of a remembrance, but more of a like, well, yeah, if I were doing this, I would totally tattoo my whole body with these beautiful designs, you know, so.
And doesn't it make you wonder, like the ones that are tattooed, like full face and everything, are they seeing that?
I've heard of people that do like intuitive tattooing where they will, and I've had like people who do like Reiki tattooing where they'll literally like, I don't know, maybe it's the same kind of idea, but they will like meditate on what they should tattoo on you. And then they just like, it comes to them, they draw it for you, and then you get it tattooed on you. So maybe you can start a new business, Meaghan, learn how to tattoo and give people the artwork that they really want. But I know
tattoo what's already on their skin would be awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's cool. I want that.
I know.
Meaghan, I'll come drive and see you. It might take me a little bit.
I might need to be on like a full tab of LSD for it to really pop out. And I don't know if I'll be able to tattoo in that state, but we'll see.
You have to just draw. You have to draw it on like a piece of paper, and I'll just go to a tattoo artist and be like, hey,
yeah,
can you?
Exactly.
So this week I met a girl that is from Poland, but she lives in the UK, and the way she describes the matrix is exactly how I see it. And then this week I posted in the group this from Instagram. It's called Resonance Science. They have an image of an eye with the matrix coming out of it, and it is exactly what I see. And these are signs. These are like, I have tried so hard to describe it, to explain it to, and then this week meeting a person that sees it exactly as I do, felt like, okay, it's the first time I've had someone like describe it as exactly the same. And I look at it as a sign to then so this ad, or it wasn't an ad, I had at some point subscribed to this Resonance Science page. And so the link was to a free course about unified sciences. And again, I'm not really a science person, but I think there's some message for me there to understand why am I seeing this? Because it's like you're saying, Meaghan, and once you recognize it as truth, I see it, it's always there. I never have not seen it since it happened. But see, they're like little signs, little like I don't know, little crumbs along the way to help me understand it more, which I think is a nice thing too. So I'm going to tell you guys about the new lesson for this week, or this next 2 weeks. And I'm excited about it because now it's going to make sense why we were collecting our animals and our sacred sites. I'm going to drop it in the, let's see if I can. Oh wait, sorry. I'm going to attach it to here in the chat. And now we're going to create your own personal opening prayer. And that is when you guys hear me doing mine, it's me pulling in my animals and my sites. And you'll see in the lesson, that there's a form that you guys can follow, and then you'll see there's a blank or a grayed out space for you to tune into what is that animal's message for you, what is that sacred site's message for you, and that's how you incorporate it into your prayer. So if you guys want to open it, you'll see what I'm talking about, and it follows the I did some research, so it is the design that our teacher Lori presented to us, but then I searched out sacred prayers, and it comes from the Four Winds is where I think this format started. And the thing is it's supposed to be personal, but this is like the outline of how to start it, right? So anything that doesn't feel like it fits in with your animal and your sacred site, you have free will over changing anything you want. And I've added things that we learned through Puma into this. So like, for example, in Lori's class, she didn't call in sacred sites. She just used animals. I personally feel so much energy from the sites that I wanted in there. So it's personal, you guys, but this is the thing that is going to start connecting you to spirit before you do anything. So before a meditation, before we connect as a group, before you do hape, it's something that you want to invoke all of your circle around you, so that when you go into that meditation, you're going deeper, not only in your own vessel, but you're having the power of all of your allies with you. So it helps you to, for me, ground and connect easier. So like, for example, when I go to the cliffs, I always open up my sacred prayer before I meditate. So this is the basics. This is the thing that every person should know and know how to do and have. And it will be, in the beginning, you will have to read it from your paper, but over time you just feel into it, and you know the prayer, and it becomes easier because you, even if you're doing it by yourself in a public space, you say it in your head as you're calling in each direction, and it becomes almost like a mantra that comes before connecting. So it's also pulling in protection. And I know I talk a lot about protection, but I think that it's, especially in these moments, the protection part of opening up space is the most important, because we are becoming lights that, of course, dense energies want to attach to. And we can carry some, like you can carry as much as your body and your vessel can hold. Before then you will get sick, disease, all of these things. But the goal is to try to be only in allowing your soul and your light in your body. Now, don't be scared if you get other things in you, because there's no judgment. We are both light and dark, and there is both. It's just not letting it be the controller of the vessel. And for example, like if you're feeling crabby, that's denseness coming out through your vessel. So it's like seeing the difference of what am I what integrity am I in by expressing this moment? You know, if I'm frustrated or if I'm impatient, and understand that we carry those, but why is it coming up to be expressed now? And why is it trying to take over this day that is fine in general, but it's just wanting a little lash out. It feels like a little serpent, kind of like, little cutting. And once you understand that you are in control of your energy, protection becomes much easier because you feel when something is not yours that comes in, and then you ground it. You allow it to pass through. I don't know if I feel like I was telling you guys or Richard that the other day I felt like so exhausted and I had to go to the store for him because something he bought at Home Depot was broken. And I remember driving there and it was the middle of the day and I felt exhausted. Like I didn't know if I was gonna be able to get home. That's how exhausted I felt. And then I was at a stoplight and I realized, like, again, I talk about this all the time, but in the moment it's hard to remember. But I was at the stoplight and I said, I'm just gonna let it pass through and see if that helps. So I tuned into that exhausted feeling because I knew it wasn't mine. I wasn't tired. And I pulled it through my spine and let it go into the ground. And literally, as the light turned green, I felt fine. So understand that those energies are moving through all of us all the time. The threads are there. It's just how are we dealing with them? So I feel like the prayer is like the first step of understanding that you control your energy circle. You control what you allow, what you pass through. And it's like empowering you guys to know that none of us are victims to any of it. Anne, what do you want to say? Because Anne has her own prayer already.
All I want to say is that, like, one of the girls that was in Lori's group, when I talked to her when this was all over, she never prayed to the north, south, east, and west. She always prayed to her sacred spaces. And it probably took me almost a year now to finally understand why she did that. Because now it's like I understand where that would be more important than doing north, south, east, and west. That wasn't what was important to her. That the sacred space is more important to her. That's what we're all kind of talking about now. The sacred space could be more important to you than the specific direction. So, and you don't have to follow this by the book. If you haven't caught on yet, you don't follow anything we say by the book, okay? That's just not the way we work here. You make it your own. You put in what you want. If you want to put in God, Mother Mary, and Buddha, and whomever, whatever you want, you put it in. It's your prayer. It's how you want to pray. You do what you want to do. This is just a template, and because it's funny, because I know when Lori did it, she did north, south, east, west, grandmother,
Father, son, grandmother.
Father, Son, Mother Earth. And I added for myself Great Spirit, because to me, I want to include the Great Spirit. So I put in Great Spirit. And I see where Gabrielle has added a Great Spirit. And it's just like, add what you want. Do it however you want to do it.
Like I added in some Quechua terms. Lori's did not have that, but like, right. Again, whatever is feeling like it's connected to you, that's what the energy that you're here to embody, and that's what will pull in your guides in your protection. So it's very unique, and this is just a guideline, and where it shows, like if we go to the first one in the south, and you'll see, so it says, let's just go through the south. So into the winds of the south and the great fires of transformation. So we know that the south is all about fire, and it's all about transformation and shedding. And then it's come, show me what it is to shed my past and to let it go completely, to step freely into my path of beauty. Then it says, great. And then here's where you guys take creative control of your spirit animal and your Apu. So each spirit animal, whether you look through a book or it came to you in a meditation, had a message for you that you resonated with, right? Like even if it's through reading what that spirit animal brings in the larger sense through other people's writings, there were words that pulled to you, right? Words that made you feel like this resonates with me. Those are the things that you would incorporate into your prayer. And then same with the Apu, you can pull some energy that specifically that you want to bring out from that Apu, or you can just invite the Apu in. It's up to you. There is no, again, no rules. And then you say, come. And then Puma's teaching, he used hump way, which I think I put at the bottom is come in, come back, and return, which to me feels more, I don't know, just more resonant than just come. So I use that. And then teach me what it is to, and then this is again where the thing that you need to embody from those elements are. So it can be as long, as short. I remember Lori said, keep it simple. But it's really up to you. And you can carry that when you put it into one piece of paper as long as you want to help you with remembering how you want it to lay out. And then I have found that it just kind of starts to flow naturally. And then like when we do our opening here, I read it for the first part because I feel like I'm anxious and I don't want to forget. But when I'm alone, some words change and whatever I'm feeling in that moment changes. And I allow whatever comes into my mind to just flow through because I know that maybe that day I need something different.
Yeah, I was listening. I was doing a thing with Misha the one time, and she cracked me up because she did an opening prayer. Misha was another lady that was in our class with Lori, and she goes, I wrote down the prayer and I had it sitting here in front of me doing her prayer. And she goes, I went totally off script, man. She just went flying. I mean, her 2-minute little presentation she was going to do, it turned into a 5 or 8 minute long prayer, you know, and it was kind of funny because she goes, okay, guys, I kind of went a little off script there. And then she went into her thing, you know, but it was kind of funny because it was just like, you can prepare what you think you're going to say, but at the moment, it's just kind of like, okay, this is what needs to come out. So, you know, this is just a ballpark. So just, you know, and it's a big ballpark, so you can hit it out the ballpark all you want.
And again, just make it as personal as possible because it's not coming from your mind, it's coming from your heart. And that's how you're going to pull that energy towards you. Now, I do want to ask, does anyone have a prayer that they've been using, either their own or someone else's? Has this come up in your paths up to this point yet? No one? Yeah.
There was something that I used, that I learned in Reiki that I was using up until now that I found really powerful. And I'm just like thinking now about how to incorporate it into my new prayer. So I'm excited. And yeah, it's been really helpful for me. It's very focused on like healing energy and calling in healing energy and letting go of the things that no longer serve you, which has been like 2 big things I've needed in my life up until this point. It's been very helpful.
Meaghan, were you going to say?
And yeah, Gabrielle, your prayer is very similar to the one that I first was accustomed to was Harangi. He's that artist, but in his invocation song, which I'll share to our group because it's really cool. It's almost the identical. It's the same kind of template as that. So I'll share that to our group chat because it's a song, and if you haven't listened to Harangi, you should. But yeah, very similar.
Yeah, and you'll, like I said, you'll realize that this becomes the anchor for any work that you do. And it can be as easy as like a meditation to as complex as holding the energy for this group. It's even like when you do hape, especially ceremonies, you want that energy to be as clean and clear as possible. And the truth is that we're not here to hold that on our own. we aren't able to be honest. Like I think I've gotten pretty strong with my energy, but I know that what scared me most about even starting this group is I was worried that I wouldn't be able to hold everyone's energy. And then that first day I realized I didn't have to, because we're together and I know I'm not the only one that has to hold it. So when you are in a group and you open up with that prayer, it's like all of these allies come to you and help you. It's not that the pressure feels like it's not on you to keep the space clean. So I hope that it helps you guys. And it's just the next step, the basics. We're just going with the basics because I realized, like, when I started, I was like, oh, I want to hear everyone's opening prayer. And then I was like, wait, no one has one. Okay. So now, once everyone has a prayer, we're going to take turns invoking the energy of each person, because I think that's going to help grow the energy and keep it as like high level as possible.
Okay, did you see the chat? Did you see April's question?
Nope. Oh, yes. And I do say that, I think it's on the first page. Okay, so closing the space, I have been closing it after we get off the chat. But yes, you do want to keep it open for as long. Let's say if you work with energy, I would open up at the beginning of the day in my meditation, and then I would do a quick refresh per client. And then at the end of the day, I'll close it. So some people, I was doing some research, will keep it open if they work with energy for a whole week, and at the end of the work week, they close it. So it is up to you. I personally, and I have to say, I don't always keep to having it closed because I want it open. So, but I can handle the energy and I prefer it. I think you need to feel into it. It's a lot like the Akashic Records prayer. When I go into my records, I don't always close those either. So I think that you have to feel into it. If it feels like it's too intense to hold, close it right away after a meditation, or play with it and feel, how does it feel to have it open throughout your workday, right? Like, do you want that energy supporting you? Don't think of it as it's only there to support you when you're connected to spirit. No, like it's exactly like when you open your 8th chakra over your whole body, it's here to support you. So when do you need support, and think of it that way too. And Anne, I mean, you may think differently. You tell us what you've done.
When I kind of close it, a lot of times I'll just close it like I'm closing chakra.
Like you're closing the what? Sorry.
Like I'm closing the 8th chakra. I mean, that's kind of like the way I may close it. Or I'll just say a thank you. It might be my way of closing. I don't think I have anything special that I do I think a thank you is pretty much what I'll do as a closing.
And I was going to say too, you don't have to say it like I say the prayer in my head. Even if I'm at the close, I speak it. But in the closing, I usually do it in my head, and I thank everyone that came, and I close it that way. I don't usually say it out loud now that I think about it.
Yeah, that's about like I'll just do a simple thank you. It's nothing as formal. It's just a thank you, for this time.
And then I guess I haven't spoken about this, but again, before you open, if you can and you're at home, let's say, I always light an incense, I Palo Santo, I have a candle. I can sometimes use spirit water as well, but I'm trying to not only keep myself clean as before I invite them in, basically, because then think about it this way: if they have to work on your vessel to clean out the energies that are there that are not protected, they're not holding the energy of the room. So I try to go into it and meet them at my highest vibration as well. So I hope that you guys find this fun and be creative, because you guys are each going to be sharing yours at a different day. Like we're going to take turns and let each person share their prayer and open up space for the group. Because like the other thing is Lori never had us speak ours out loud from what I remember. And it's a, you know, it's one of those things, you're being vulnerable, you're opening up you to a group, but we have to get used to that. So I want us to be used to that, and I want us to feel like it's second nature to share that part of you with people. And obviously this space is safe and there's, you know, nothing to be afraid of. So does anyone have any questions? Anything else you can think of? No. No. I guess not. Meaghan?
No questions.
Oh, no
Just wanted to make sure I was here. And close out.
Yeah, I mean, I love your guys' energy, and honestly, it feels so good to be in it. And I always feel that when we open. So I know that the power of a group is something very, I don't know, like much grander than one can hold on their own. I guess that's how it feels like in my body. So I always appreciate that time. And I just had this message that maybe we should close with that thing that I shared in the group. So I'm gonna read it if that's okay for everyone. I don't know why. Okay. So Hopi Indian Chief White Eagle commented a few days ago on the current situation of our country and the world. Such wise words from a Native American elder that can benefit us all during this difficult time. The moment humanity is experiencing can be seen as a door or a hole. The decision to fall in the hole or walk through the door is up to you. If you consume the news 24 hours a day with negative energy, constantly nervous and with pessimism, you will fall into this hole. But if you take the opportunity to look at yourself, to rethink life and death, and to take care of yourself and others, then you will walk through the portal. Take care of your home, take care of your body, connect with your spiritual home. When you take care of yourself, you take care of everyone at the same time. Do not underestimate the spiritual dimension of this crisis. Take the perspective of the eagle that sees everything from above with a broader view. There is a social question in this crisis, but also a spiritual question. The two go hand in hand. Without the social dimension, we fall into fanaticism, and without the spiritual dimension, we fall into pessimism and futility. Are you ready to face this crisis? Grab your toolbox and use all of the tools at your disposal. Learn resistance from the example of Indian and African peoples. We have been and are exterminated, but we have never stopped singing, dancing, lighting a fire, and rejoicing. Don't feel guilty for feeling blessed in these troubled times. Being sad or angry doesn't help at all. Resistance is resistance through joy. It has nothing to do with alienation or ignorance of the world. It's a resistance strategy. You have the right to be strong and positive, and there's no other way to do it than to maintain a beautiful, happy, bright posture. When we cross the threshold, we have a new worldview because we have faced our fears and difficulties, and this you can all do now. Serenity in the storm, keep calm, pray every day, make a habit of meeting the sacred every day. Look for the doorway to pass through and not the hole to fall into. Show resistance through art, joy, trust, and love. And then it's Hopi Indian Chief White Eagle, and that's from July 9th. So I'm feeling that this is at a peak. So just, try not to be ignorant, but also understand that we are not meant to tie into those threads. Someone said to me, I think a few weeks ago, that everyone was incarnated exactly where their soul's karma was meant to play out in this lifetime. And then when you look at it from that perspective, it's easier to understand that everybody is exactly where they're meant to be, and they're going through their struggles because their karma is here to grow in that way. Now, it's not, saying that everything and all of these injustices are okay, but it's having compassion for where every single person is in this moment and not having a judgment either way. So I hope that that helps you guys, because it made me feel good. And I look forward to our next meeting. I love you.
Thanks, everybody.
Love you.
Love you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you, Jess.
Yes,
Good to
nice to
see
meet you.
everybody.
Yeah. Good way for a Friday.
Take care all.
Bye, guys. Take care.